house guests. Welcome to today's Big Brother 24 updates and spoilers. Thank you so much for being here. Our house guests of the day are Angie Vega and Mary Ellen Ludwig. Thank you both so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate it so much. So thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. I also want to thank our super chatters from yesterday before we get started, because that's another fantastic way to support our channel. So Norm the Cat, Vincent Campos, Callie, Jody Cortez, Robo Lafirum, Dane Thomas, Laura G, Taylor Fulmer, Meme Robin, Kenny D, and Arjun Wrights. Thank you all so much for your super chats. Excuse me, I had a big lunch day. And thank you also today to Norm the Cat. Yay. Thank you as always. Sheena US 48. Thank you so much for your super chat. And Sheena says, hey, Maddie, did you hear about Queen Elizabeth? I know. I'm really sad to hear about the passing of Queen Elizabeth. And just to bring that into the Big Brother world, it's interesting whenever there's like a big world news event like this, and to think that like these house guests are maybe some of like the only people in the world. I mean, there's other people, of course, but you know, some of the only people in the world who like don't know about this news. That's fascinating. But I'm curious if Julie will tell the house guests tonight that Queen Elizabeth passed away. I don't know. You know, I'm curious to see what happens, but it is a very sad day. Yes, but it was also a crazy day because, yeah, the cast of Dancing with the Stars season 31 came out, and I'm very excited about some of this cast. I mean, just off the top of my head, remembering, okay, so we have, now I can't remember anything because I was just talking about Queen Elizabeth. Well, first of all, I'm excited about some of the pros that are coming back. I mean, Louis Van Amstel and Mark Ballas, we haven't seen them in a while, and I'm really thrilled that they're going to be coming back. We've got Selma Blair, so exciting. Oh my God, Shangela. I cannot wait to see Shanji. And I believe that Shangela is paired up with Gleb, so that is super fun. Let's see, who else? Sam Champion from The Weather. Fun. Teresa Giudice. Oh my God. So there's going to be a lot of excitement with Dancing with the Stars this season, but I'm sure we'll talk about that more another time. And I'm sure I'm forgetting important cast members that are just, you know, there's a lot going on today, but thank you again, Sheena. All right, so let's get started. When we left off yesterday, Terence and Alyssa are up on the block, and both of them have been checking in with people and campaigning. And Terence has been pushing to Taylor and Monty that he wants to make a final 3 with them called the family reunion. So he's putting a lot of pressure on Taylor here. And he's like, why do we have a wall between us? Why can't you move past last week? Like, if you vote me out, then I guess you didn't really want another Black person to win this season. So it just angers me when Terence tried to keep Kyle over Taylor last week, and now he's all like, why are you not keeping me? Like, that's ridiculous. So Taylor and Monty agreed. They are still voting Terence out, and Terence will be leaving by a vote of 4-0. But the bigger story here this week, no offense, Terence, is that Brittany has been nervousing all week. Oh yeah, Jordan Sparks, super excited for her. Brittany has been nervousing all week. She's been overplaying. She's making final 2s with mad people. She's trying to pit people against each other, and they're all comparing notes and finding out that she's doing this. So Brittany has now made herself a target for lots of people going into this double eviction. Yikes. Okay, so Michael, Turner, and Monty chat in the HOH room. And Monty says Terence is trying to do some crazy last-minute manipulation right now. He describes how Terence is going up to people saying like, oh, I have all these votes locked in, and I just need one more person to lock in, and then I can stay. So he's like putting a lot of pressure on people. But Monty confirms Terence does not have any of those votes locked in that he's claiming that he has. He's leaving. He will be going. So then the guys start discussing Brittany. She's a mess this week, right? She's way overplaying. And Monty's like, I need to chat with Taylor to find out what Brittany's been telling her, because Brittany has been doing a lot with Taylor and Alyssa lately. So Turner says it seems like Brittany bit off more than she can chew at this point because Taylor and Alyssa both know what she's been up to, right? That information has gotten back around to them. So now everybody knows what Brittany's been up to except for Brittany. And I don't think they've told Terence either. They've been keeping him in the dark about that. But anyway, they don't know why she's doing all of this now because she wasn't really in any jeopardy before. I will say she was in danger of being like collateral damage if somebody took a shot at Michael and couldn't get him and then they took out Brittany instead. But now, I mean, she's made her own target here. So Turner says if he wins HOH, he will be putting up some combination of the three girls, Brittany, Taylor, and Alyssa. So the guys agree they wouldn't put each other up, not even as pawns. Yeah, we'll see if that actually lasts. But they're saying we got to keep each other off the block so that we can control the votes. As long as two of us are not up on the block, we will be able to control the votes and decide who's going. So Monty says he's cool with putting up Brittany and Alyssa if he wins HOH. He feels like he can at least trust Taylor, and he wants to continue to build that trust with her by leaving her off the block. So Turner asks, okay, if Brittany and Alyssa are up on the block, who would the target be? And Turner says, I think it would be Brittany, right? So of course, Turner doesn't want Alyssa to go because she's super close to him. So Turner's asking Michael, if Brittany's up on the block and you win the power of veto, you'd be comfortable like leaving her up there, right? Hell no, Michael is not leaving Brittany up on the block. Are you kidding me? So Turner says, if Brittany does come down, we could put Taylor up in her place. So again, Turner is definitely trying to keep the target off of Alyssa. He says that Brittany and Taylor are more chaotic, so it should be one of them leaving. So Michael completely evades Turner's question about what he would do with the veto, and Michael says, well, Brittany is doing way too much for sure, but he says I don't see Brittany as a big competition threat. He's trying to protect his girl, and he says Alyssa's not doing much, but she is a jury threat. And then between the three, or out of the three, he feels that Taylor is the biggest competition threat. But he says, I feel like I'm so confident that we can all beat her in a competition. I don't know about that. But anyway, I mean, Michael, yeah, of course. Michael can beat anyone. So Turner says there really are pros and cons for each option. And Michael is suggesting, we should maybe just base it off of who wins HOH, because different moves are going to impact each of our games and jury votes differently, right? It wouldn't make sense for Michael to target Brittany or Turner to target Alyssa. So whoever wins HOH, just do what you are most comfortable with for your game. So Turner brings up that Alyssa, now that she's heard all this info about Brittany and her playing everyone, Turner says Alyssa is now targeting Brittany, which is huge, right? Because they weren't sure what Alyssa was going to do if she won HOH. So they just can't believe how things have shifted this week. I mean, going into this week, there were 0 people actually targeting Brittany, and now almost everyone would put her up. She wouldn't necessarily be the target, but almost everybody would put her up on the block. So Turner brings up that Taylor told him that she would put him up if she wins HOH. And she did say this to his face, and she told him, you wouldn't be my target, but I would put you up on the block. So Turner is wondering, do Michael or Monty know who Taylor would put up on the block next to him? And Monty is pretty confident that Taylor would put up Alyssa. So Turner's like, oh, that's fine then. As long as it's not 2 of us up on the block together, we can control the votes. We can get rid of Alyssa in that situation. Now, they're wondering, what would Brittany do if she were to win HOH? Monty says all hell would break loose. They don't know what Brittany would do if she won. I think she'd target Turner, right? I mean, she is so threatened by Turner in competitions. I think that would be her target. But Monty and Turner are like, you know what? What are the chances that one of the girls are going to win HOH anyway? They're pretty confident that one of them will win HOH. We'll see. I don't know. But they figure also if they don't, and if one of the girls wins HOH, they feel like they'll be fine. Again, as long as two of them are not up on the block together. So Turner says, oh, it would just be so dope if Alyssa wins HOH and targets Brittany. So she'd be out of here, and then all three of us can play for HOH next week. Yeah, that's great. So Michael's like, I don't know. He would be a little bit nervous that Alyssa would not actually follow through on that plan to target Brittany. And he's nervous that Alyssa might put him up on the block, which I'm pretty sure she would. I think going into this double eviction, Alyssa, her plans for nominations would be Brittany and Michael, because she wouldn't want to give Michael the opportunity to win the veto and save Brittany, and then he would also be safe. So anyway, the guys feel like, all in all, they're in a pretty good spot going into next week. So after this conversation, Michael is alone. He's talking to the cameras, and Michael says, if Brittany goes up and I'm not on the block and I win the veto, obviously I'm going to pull her down. Like, Brittany going home does not make sense for my game. He still wants to go to the end with Brittany because he knows it should be a lock for him to win, right? So yeah, he would use the veto. All right. So later, Monty and Taylor have a check-in in the Jetsons' bedroom, and they're talking about all the Brittany drama, of course. Brittany's all over the place. She's trying to pit people against each other. She's making final twos. As Monty says, blase, blase, blah, right? I love when Monty says that. For some reason, it just cracks me up. But Taylor says, Brittany has been paranoid all week that you and Turner are super close, that you guys are working together, you have a final two. And Taylor's like, that's just crazy. It doesn't make sense because we have a final four, meaning the Brochella squad of Taylor, Brittany, Michael, and Monty. So Taylor's telling Monty, like, you didn't know that me and Brittany were going up on the block on Turner's HOH week. So, like, clearly you guys are not working together. But this is interesting because Taylor does know that Monty was pulled into the after party alliance last week. Terence told her about that, but she's not revealing to Monty that she knows this information. So Monty says, you know what? I think Brittany was just trying to create doubt with everyone. Do you think that I would be telling you all of this stuff about Brittany and Turner and everything if I had a final two with Turner? Like, that just wouldn't make sense. So it seems like Monty is getting closer and closer to Taylor, I have to say. I feel like Monty, though, at this point is trying to hedge his bets. Like, I honestly don't know who he wants to go to the end with at this point. Definitely not Michael, but other than that, I don't know. So anyway, Monty and Taylor agree that even though Brittany is probably going up on the block next week, they don't think it would make sense for their games to get rid of her. Taylor says anyone that sits next to Brittany in the final two will win. She is very loyal right now to their final four with Brittany and Michael, again, the Brochella squad. And Monty's asking Taylor, like, have you talked with Brittany lately? Like, what has she been saying? And Taylor brings up how the other day Brittany was asking her who she would put up if she wins HOH. And Taylor says that was a red flag to me. That bothered me because we had already decided as a four, the Brochella final four, that it would be Turner and Alyssa going up on the block. We made a group decision. That wasn't just me. And Taylor says, I felt like Brittany was trying to get me to say out loud that I would put up Turner and Alyssa so that she could go to Turner and Alyssa and tell them that. Right? So she felt like she was maybe being set up there. She was not thrilled about that. But Taylor expresses if she were to win HOH, she's not so sure that she would put Brittany up on the block. A lot of people would want her to do that, but I mean, it doesn't make sense for her game, right? So Taylor says, on the other hand, if somebody else wins HOH and puts Brittany up, I mean, it's to be expected at this point that she will be nominated. But if she's up there next to Turner or Alyssa, who are we voting out? So Taylor and Monty agree. Alyssa would still be the next target. Monty says, Brittany is giving me a reason to put her up, but not to vote her out, right? Even though she's wilding out right now, they recognize that Brittany is still good for their games. So Taylor says, if Turner and Brittany are up there, I would want Turner to go. So it seems like Taylor's order is like or at least what she's saying here is Alyssa, Turner, and then Brittany. But Taylor also brings up another point. She says, in a perfect world, if somebody, meaning Michael, doesn't win the power veto next week, then like Michael would be the one to go. And Monty agrees. He says, if we have the opportunity and we don't take it, we're going to look like fools. So he says, if I win the power veto, I'm using it. If I'm HOH, I'm going to make the move and take out Michael. And he says, my hope would be that if that does happen, I'm not going to be public enemy number one the following week, right? I mean, if you're the person that takes out Michael, that's huge on your resume. You're a huge threat to win. You become the new biggest target. So Monty says, I'm going to need some reassurances from people that I would be safe the following week. So Taylor and Monty agree that they will keep each other safe moving forward. And Taylor says it just makes sense for them to go to the final three with Brittany, and Monty agrees. Taylor says, let's be real. It would really, if it was the two of us and Brittany in the end, it would really be me and you duking it out in those final competitions. Ouch. Okay. So I guess they don't think Brittany stands a chance in those final HOH comps. But anyway, these two are getting closer for sure. Okay. So after this conversation, Monty checks in with Turner, and Monty says, so I just talked to Taylor. She's good. She's definitely not trusting Brittany anymore, and she's willing to put Brittany up on the block. That's not really what Taylor said. She definitely said she would have to think about it. You know, she would consider putting Brittany up on the block, but she would be okay with other people doing it. So I don't know if Monty is like lying to Turner just to cover up for Taylor, or maybe he misunderstood Taylor, right? Because we all saw week one the misunderstanding between Taylor and Monty, so it could happen again, you know. But nevertheless, Turner is pumped to hear that Taylor is on board with this plan to get Brittany up on the block. All right, so then Monty checks in with Michael next, and Monty says, again, I just had a good conversation with Taylor. She's starting to get an idea that Brittany's running around. She's running amok. So Michael's like, I don't know what to say to Brittany right now. I'm not going to say anything to her about like all this stuff because that's just going to send her spiraling and scrambling even more. So Monty's like, yeah, at this point, I think we just have to like play it cool, not say anything, and let Brittany just continue her running around, right? They don't want it to get worse. So Michael says, I really don't want Taylor to think that I have anything to do with all the stuff that Brittany is doing right now, right? Obviously, Michael and Brittany are very closely associated with each other in people's eyes because they've been a duo for like this whole entire game. So Michael's saying he doesn't want Taylor to think that he is throwing her under the bus to people. So Monty's like, yeah, we all have to get on the same page for sure. So just like in the conversation with Taylor, Monty is saying now to Michael that he doesn't think Brittany should be the one to go next. You know, even if she does go up on the block, she's still way less of a threat to their games than Alyssa. So he still wants Alyssa to be the next target. And of course, Michael agrees. He says Brittany poses the lowest threat of winning things. Michael does not want Brittany to go. Okay, so later, Terence and Monty are chatting in the car bedroom while Terence is packing up his suitcase. And Terence says, if I don't make it or whatever, and you make it to the final, and it's between you and her meaning Taylor, you already know where my vote's going. What a surprise! Obviously, Terence would vote for Monty to win over Taylor. I mean, we've seen what a turd Terence has been all season to Taylor behind her back. So Monty says, oh, I really appreciate that. Thank you. Monty also says, I mean, he's trying to play it up here like he doesn't want Terence to go. And we did see earlier in the week, he was kind of like floating that idea around, like, what if we kept Terence? But he's definitely playing it up now to make sure that he's in good with Terence as he goes to the jury house. So Monty says that Alyssa staying this week is really an indication that she can keep getting away with this over and over again. Every week, people don't see that she's just sliding through. And Monty says that Alyssa and Brittany are the biggest floaters of all time. of all time. I don't know about that. But anyway, Monty basically tells Terence that he would rather keep him this week, but he can't go against the house. You know, the votes are not there to keep Terence. So Monty says, when I asked Taylor what she thought about family reunion, which was Terence's proposed final three alliance with Taylor and Monty, Monty says Taylor just gave me a side eye about it. She seems to be feeling some sort of way still about last week. Wouldn't you? So Terrence says, F it's stupid. Really? He says, I gave Taylor the opportunity yesterday to air out her grievances and she didn't do it. She didn't take me up on that. Why would she work with you? You've tried to go against her at every turn. Oh my God, why would she trust you? But anyway, Terrence says it's going to bite Taylor in the ass in the long run. And when she shows up to jury, he will welcome her and he will be like, have a seat on your goofy ass. He said that she's a goofy ass. Okay, or goof ass, whatever. So anyway, Monty says he's really hoping that he can win this next HOH because Michael can't play. He's feeling like he's got a good shot, and he wants to take the shot at Michael if Michael does not win that veto. But Monty is just afraid. He's getting nervous that if he does take that shot at Michael, he will be the target the following week. He can't play for HOH if he wins this one. He says, I would have to win the power of veto to make sure nobody gets any ideas and tries to come after me. So Monty says, I guess I'm just going to have to roll with the punches, right? And see what happens. So later, Taylor's alone in the golf bedroom, and she gives us some insight into her game. Taylor says Turner cannot win next week. HOH, veto, She says Brittany cannot go next week because that would not be good for Taylor's game. Taylor says, I don't have to trust Brittany, but I do need her in the game. Turner has to go. Alyssa has to go. But again, she's saying ideally next week, I win the veto and I can have Turner and Michael next to each other up on the block. Ooh. So I guess Taylor is on board to take out Michael. Oh my God. But anyway, in other news, Monty and Turner did confirm to each other that if they get the chance to take out Michael this week, they are going to go for it. They just can't pass up on that opportunity. You know, earlier in the week, we saw that they were putting this alliance together with the two of them and Michael, and it was insane that they were even considering not targeting Michael if they had the opportunity. But now they're just like, oh my God, we can't pass this up if it happens. And I think once they hear that tonight is a double eviction, they will be thinking even more like, we need to get Michael out of here when we have the chance. But yeah, that's where we're at. Nothing crazy happening today. We've got the double eviction tonight. It's 2 hours, so we'll see how action-packed it is. I don't know. When they do 2 hours, it's basically like an hour and a half of BS and then half an hour of content. But hi! We'll see what happens. Hello. And Terence is saying his speech tonight is going to be brutal, so
whatever.
We'll see what he says. Is he just going to be like, Taylor, I hate you?
No, because he won't say that.
I don't know. We'll find out tonight. So it looks like Terence will be the first one leaving. And then who? Let me know in the comments who you think the second evictee will be.
Will he make a fool of himself?
Yeah. All right. So I want to thank all of today's super chatters because we really, really appreciate it. So Norm the Cat, Sheena, US 48, thank you both so much. Jody Cortez, thank you so much. And Jody says, sad the queen passed. I work for the queen's paper. I know, it is really sad. And obviously, like, we all knew that this was inevitable, right? She was 96 years old. But it is still very sad. And it's really a historic day because if you think about it, like, she's the only British monarch that most of us would have known, like, during our lifetime so far.
She's the longest reigning British monarch.
Yeah, and looking ahead to the future, like, I don't think we're going to see another queen in our lifetime, right? So that's pretty wild to think about. But yeah, it's very sad. I was not expecting that this morning. Susan Pengilly, thank you so much for the super chat. Dawn MH302, thank you so much. Holly M, thank you so much. Sean Davis, thank you so much for the super chat. And Sean says, Brittany has been spiraling and it's time for her to go. Terence is like the drunk uncle at the cookout who tries to fit in and won't shut up. Yeah, he's been a lot. I'm ready for Terence to go to the jury house. But I'm really curious to see who will be following him. Jefferson Tucker, yay! Thank you so much for the super chat. We've missed you.
Yeah.
Deb Wicks, thank you so much. And Susie Fairchild, thank you so much for the super chat. Oh, and I got one more here.
Fairchild?
Fairfield. Susie Fairfield, thank you so much. William Dang, thank you so much for your super chat. And William says Michael will win the season because of messy players. You never know. I mean, if Michael can pull out a veto win tonight, that would be really clutch because it's looking like people are waiting for him to slip up in this double. We'll see.
Who do you think will go in the double?
I don't know. I think if Michael doesn't win the veto, he's going to be in trouble. But also, if Brittany wins HOH, she can keep him safe, and I think she would. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's not looking great for Michael. You never know what could happen. Maybe they do an easy move and take out Alyssa. Like, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Christine, thank you so much for the super chat. And Christine says, thanks for all you do, Maddie and Janet. I keep coming back year after year. Thanks for coming back. We really appreciate that. And Christian Torres, thank you so much for the super chat. Christian says, caught it late, I think. Love your vids. # Team Taylor. Aw. Well, thanks for stopping by, and you can always watch the replay after. Woo! And yes, # Team Taylor. Absolutely. Taylor, Michael.
Carpet's winning.
Bowie's winning! Yay! So, we gotta go. We got a long episode tonight. We'll see you later.
Pizza.
Yeah, pizza tonight. And that's it. So, thanks for being here. Until next time, much love. Bye. Bye, everybody. Bye.